Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to a new review. Today I got y'all the Megumi from the Figma JUJUTSU Kaisen line. Oh, wait, it's out of... So, there we go. The Figma Megumi Fushiguro. This figure is really good. In itself, on paper, it's really good. You get a lot of accessories with it, even though the body type is not preferable because some people may want a more bulky version of Megumi, but for me, it works. But the one problem I had, or the several problems I had with this figure when I had the other version, the first one I got, was that, first of all, this torso articulation right here, which is supposed to go forward like this, as we compare to this Yuji figure, which I reviewed yesterday, go watch that. But as you see here, Yuji, he bends forward quite a lot. And I expected the same thing from this Megumi figure. But what happened was that the articulation, which is supposed to bend forwards, was tilted to the other side. So in my case, this one, it actually goes forward, okay, after fixing it. Because this is another Megumi that I bought after I returned the other one. But how the other Megumi, my first Megumi, was structured is that the articulation that was set here, it wasn't supposed to bend forwards. Instead, it was supposed to bend sideways. And that is how I almost broke that torso articulation. So that was my first gripe. Now to the second one, while trying to fix this one, I had to pop out the upper body from the lower body so I could rotate it and make it go forward and back. But to do that, I had to pop out the torso, as I said. So when I popped the torso off, the head, the neck, and the hairpiece, they all flew away from me. And while it was in the air, it actually disassembled itself. So it broke it off into three pieces: the faceplate, the hairpiece, and the neck peg. The neck peg, I don't know where it went. The faceplate just went under my bed, and the hairpiece broke. I don't know how that happens. How do you have a figure quality? How does the figure's quality get so bad, so drastically too? Because I don't think the Figma, Yuji, and Megumi was that much apart from each other. So I was frustrated. I was really frustrated with that. And after getting this one, it's still, the prior figure still left a bittersweet feeling in my mouth, a bittersweet taste. But I feel like with this one, it does redeem Figma a little bit because it's a great figure in this version at least. So with what I have right now, I'm happy with it. I'm not gonna say anything really bad about this one because this one works. It serves its purpose. It's a Megumi figure that acts like Megumi, or embodies Megumi's personality within how it's sculpted. So I'm glad with that. But enough of the hating and the gripes I had with the prior version, and let's get into this figure right here. So we're going to start with taking a closer look. Alright, so one thing that I wanted to take up, which is basically a new thing for my type of reviews, is that I'm gonna have a little bit of backstory. So basically, Megumi is one of the three main characters, well, kind of main characters in the Jujutsu Kaisen series, which is created by Geige Akutami. And from what I know, or from what I've read and seen on the anime, he's basically this nonchalant guy like Sasuke, for example, and he is one of the stronger on the team, which we see. Without delving into spoilers, he's a very good character and is written pretty well. But with the latest chapters that I've seen, I don't know. All I'm going to say is potential, man. But that's enough of his backstory. The rest you can check out from Crunchyroll by watching the anime or even reading the manga if you feel like that. So taking a closer look at Megumi, we can see that his face sculpt, I feel like it is the embodiment of Megumi because he has that serious and that nonchalant personality in the series, and I think this figure, especially with this faceplate, it really looks good. So I feel like the sculpting, the paint, very nice. Anyways, the hairpiece on this one, I feel like in general this hairpiece, it's very hard. It's made out of this hard material, which I guess it is good in retrospect because it holds its place, it doesn't bend or warp. But if you drop it like I did, or if it flies off the goddamn head, it's gonna break. So you gotta be careful with this one. So what I do is basically take the head off or the hairpiece off, articulate the head by itself, and then put the hairpiece back. But now with the hairpiece gone, we can take an even better look at the faceplate, and you can see that the paint, it's very nicely put on this face sculpt. So yeah, it's pretty good. And the neck peg on this one doesn't fall off like the last one, which I'm pretty sure I have a video on that too. If I put it on right now or not, I don't know. But continuing onwards with the body and how that looks, I think it's the same one as this Yuji. I think the only difference between these two is that the Megumi is very slim compared to Yuji, and that he's a bit taller too. Yeah, I think the only difference is that Megumi is on a slimmer body. And the pants, you can see Yuji has that bigger pants, the baggy pants, and then Megumi has a bit more slimmer again. But the basic sculpt is the same for both of these figures, so you shouldn't expect that much of a difference between these two. It's only the head sculpt and the accessories you get, and also the feet, their boots. That's the only differences you get with these two figures. Taking Yuji out of here, let's take a look at Megumi's accessories. Putting Megumi aside for a quick second, I forgot to mention with the Yuji review, and in this case with Megumi, you also get this accessory too, and that is a Figma stand. So you get this stand with Yuji too. I forgot to mention that, my bad. But anyways, we have the stand right here. Putting that aside, let's take a look at this transparent, or it's basically like a picture on some plastic, which is supposed to be his Chimera Shadow Garden domain expansion, I think, or part of his power up. I don't remember exactly, but it's cool. You can put it on the floor and pose him around like he's coming out of his domain expansion or getting the domain expansion out. So yeah. Next up is the Playful Wolf statue, I guess. The only thing that's posable on this statue is his head, which doesn't even turn that well because it's not very well sculpted behind his head. But it looks good. You can have him behind Megumi himself. So it looks like he's summoned his Chimera Shadow Garden domain expansion and has his Playful Wolf behind him. But taking a look at some of the hands he has. First up, we got the Nue summoning hands, which you can see is basically two open palm hands, and it's emulating some wings, I guess, because Nue is basically a big owl. I'm going to show a picture of Megumi using these hands to the right of these, so you can get an estimate of how it's supposed to look like. After that, we get the next Shikigami summoning hand, and that's the Playful Wolf, which you can use for this wolf right here. And this is basically how it should look like in action, which, yeah, it's very nice. And the sculpting on this hand is great too. And yeah, that's it for this. Now for the last dual-wielded hand, I guess. It's this Chimera Shadow Garden hand, which is supposed to be his domain expansion. And I feel like this is very well made. I think you can also use this for Gojo, the Figma Gojo. I don't have him right now, but I think you can use that to emulate his teleporting power, which he has in the JJK0 movie. Here's a picture of Megumi using these hands. So taking a look at the ones we have up close right here, we have first 2 pairs of gripping hands, we get 2 pairs of fisted hands, and then we get 2 pairs of open palm hands. And for the hands on Megumi himself, we get 2 relaxed hands, as you can see here. And I just have that on him right now because he's pretty relaxed in my collection. So yeah, not much more than that. But with this done, let's get into the faceplates. Yeah, I forgot to put the different accessories in front of the camera, but anyways, for the faceplates, we first get the screaming head, which is basically just a nice action faceplate you can use with the different options that you get, the different accessories. And this one looks really good as the first faceplate I talked about. And then my favorite faceplate from this figure, which is also why I bought it, it's this domain expansion summoning hand which he had during the season 1 arc when he summoned his domain expansion instead of Mahoraga. And I feel like they really captured his face or his look during that episode, and I'm basically in love with this figure just because of that faceplate. But anyways, that's all of the accessories we get with this Figma Megumi. Let's get on with his articulation. Alright, so now with the camera towards Megumi again and the accessories out of here, let's get on to his articulation. So taking the hairpiece off because I want to show exactly how much articulation you get with the head. We get this much upwards, and I think that's something. That's not the best, but it's not the worst either. I've seen worse. Downwards, yeah, you can tuck his head in or tuck his chin in, and it works. He looks down, no problem with that. We get the side to side and the swivel all around, which is pretty good, and the neck peg doesn't jump away from this one like the previous Megumi that I had. Putting the hairpiece back on top of him. Let's go on with his butterfly swivel or butterfly hinge, and it goes forward quite a lot. You can cross his arms like the Yuji figure, and with this one the range I think is even more, which is great because I love that. Who doesn't? Anyways, the arm goes this much up, which you can see, goes all the way down. We get some sort of bicep swivel right here. Doesn't go all the way around, but it does its job pretty well. The hinge right here, again, be careful with the Figma joints here on the elbows because they could break easily if you have them placed wrong. But anyways, they go in this much, which is pretty good, I'd say. Hands go down, up, and swivel around 360. It's pretty tight though, so be careful with that. Getting to the torso now. Oh wow, you see already the placement just changed, so I could have broken my figure again. But going forwards with the torso, Megumi goes forward this much, I think, with the legs more straight, this much. Backwards, not a lot, I think it works. And we also get a swivel and a bit of side to side, but don't do too much or else you're going to strain or deform the joint inside. We also get another one at the bottom right here, so you can go forward even more. And it does go back too, so yeah, helps with articulation. The legs go forward this much with the drop down hinge, which Yuji didn't have. So I'm glad we see this right here. Even though it's pretty loose, it's still something. Legs go, oh. The joint popped off, or the leg popped off from the joint. Anyways, the legs go back this much. So again, be careful. Don't push the figure towards its limits too much, or else it's going to do shit like that. We get no thigh swivel, or we do get some why. We do get some thigh swivel, but it's not the best. Just goes to the side a bit like that, just shimmies basically. The legs go in this much. It tucks in almost all the way, so that's great. And we get the foot that goes down, up, the toe joint, and then some ankle pivot. That's it for the articulation. Let's go on to some figure comparison. Going forward to the figure comparison, first of all, we got his boy Yuji to his right. We got Nobara at his left, and this is the trio again. I'm going to show this off until the entire trio is done with the respective reviews. But anyways, Yuji's done, Megumi this video, Nobara is next. And I feel like, again, they look so good together. They all complement each other, even though this is the SHF version of Nobara. I think it looks great, even though the plastic might not look the same because SH has more of a glance on it, while Megumi has more of, or Megumi and Yuji, the entire Figma line has more of a matte look. But if you don't care about that as much, like I do, you could just go in it and mix and match the different figures. I have the SHF Utah coming on the way, so stay tuned for that after I'm done with all the figures I have right now. Getting in some new figures, I have this Nanami Kento from Figma again, and I had some wild problems with this one. I'm going to make a review of him after Nobara, but I'm just saying, right now, after I've fixed him up, I think I'm liking him very much, or at least more than I did when I just got him, because with some of the fixes that I'm going to show you, you could do yourself with this figure. If you find him for cheap, you could probably make a pretty good Nanami figure out of that. But we also got Chainsaw Man to the side. I don't know if I got them on the same picture in the last figure comparison, but yeah, they all look good together. And getting these two out of here, let's put in two of the Attack on Titan figures I have right here, Eren and Levi. And now rewatching the entire series again, the Attack on Titan, I feel like these two figures look so good compared to how they look in the anime, but expect these two getting a review after I'm done with the entire JJK line, or at least the figures I have as of right now. So maybe in some months, 1 month, I'd say 1 month, 2 months at least, maximum 2 months. Last but not least, let's have a Marvel Legends Black Suit Spider-Man right here. I'm going to try and review him as fast as possible, so to please all of you that were requesting that. And also, as you see here, I got a comment not too long ago that said I should try out the trick. I did make a short and I did remove it, but I'm going to review this modded version of this Black Suit Spider-Man pretty soon, I think. Then we have an average SHF right here, so you can see how the sizes would look. Taking these two out, let's get into the final segment of this video. This Megumi figure is actually really good if you got a good version or a good product, which doesn't have all the bad QC issues which my last one had. For example, this one right now, I feel like is one of my favorite figures of this year, and I've copped a lot of figures this year, so it's not an understatement exactly. But the accessories you get with him and the different faceplates and the summoning heads for his Shikigamis, it's really good and makes this a very nice release from Figma. But if you take the QC issues into the point, or if you take note of the QC issues, you could say that this is also not their best release, because I feel like Yuji right now is one of their best releases with how strong he is and how many stuff you get with him, with the amount of QC issues that you don't get with him. Because yeah, so basically what I'm trying to say is that this Megumi figure, if he doesn't have the QC issues, he's very nice. You get a lot of stuff with him and he's enjoyable. But that's it for this video. Take a look at the different poses I'm going to have at the end, and stay tuned for the next review.